Every startup founder wants to know what the keys are to startup success. And if you talk to venture capitalists, they're going to tell you it's the market. The market rules all. They're going to tell you it's more important than your team, it's more important than your business model, it's more important than your funding, it's more important than everything you do. And from their perspective, they're right. But I'm here to tell you they're wrong. And I'm going to explain why in today's video that there's a lot more important things than market to startup success. And that's what today's video is about, is what are the keys to startup success. In this video, I'm going to dive deep and I'm going to explain not only why VCs are wrong, I'm going to explain exactly what you should focus on if you want to have a successful startup. Hi, I'm Brett Fox, and this is what I do. I help startup CEOs build and grow their businesses. So let's go. So let's take a look at what goes on and how you can achieve startup success. So let's start from the VC perspective. And I'm going to use something called Rashleif's Law. And Rashleif's Law was developed by a fellow by the name of Andy Rashleif. He's an ex-venture capitalist, very successful venture capitalist. Now he is founder of a company called Wealthfront. And he has a 4-point law. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 points in Rashleif's Law. And this is perfect from a venture capital perspective. So let's go through those 4 points. Point number 1. The number one company killer is market. Point number 2. When a great team meets a lousy market, the market wins. Point number 3. When a lousy team meets a great market, the market wins. And point number 4. When a great team meets a great market, something special happens. So why is market the obsession? Why does market trump all from a VC perspective, yet they're wrong? I'll get to the wrong next, but let's explain it from their perspective. Here's why. Everything else can be changed out. You can change out a team if you're venture capitalists, but you can't change the market. So if they believe that you should focus on a certain market to be successful, well, they can change you out, they can change the business model out, they can get more funding for the company, whatever they need, but they can't change the market. That's why market trumps all from their perspective. And they're right, markets are forgiving. You choose the right market, and markets are very forgiving. Yeah, look at the last point in Rashleif's Law, point number 4. When a great team meets a great market, something special happens. But I'm going to switch this around to Fox's Law, because I'm approaching this from the entrepreneur's perspective, not from the investor perspective. So let me go through the 4 points of Fox's Law. Are you ready? Point number 1. The number one company killer is a lack of market. Point number 2. When a great team meets a lousy market, the great team adjusts and changes the market focus to a great market. They pivot. That's what great teams do. Number 3, the great team needs a great company culture in order to make the changes necessary to succeed and grow. Number 4, that's why company culture is the most important thing to you to be a successful entrepreneur. Let me repeat that again. Company culture is the most important thing for you to be a successful entrepreneur. So now let's dig deeper. First, Stanford University did a study of startups, and they looked at the various company cultures and they compared culture type to success. Which company culture types worked, which company culture types didn't work. And they saw which ones were successful. And the most successful company culture by a landslide was what's called a commitment culture. I'm going to explain what a commitment culture is in a minute, but it beats all other types of cultures that are out there. In fact, every company in the Stanford study that had a commitment culture succeeded. Not all companies in any other culture succeeded. But if you had a commitment culture, you succeeded in any other cultures out there, be it a star culture, be it a dictatorial culture, be it a command and control culture. None of those cultures were as successful as the commitment culture. So now let's take a look and dive deep into why company culture is so important. Well, first, let's flip it around. What happens if you have a bad culture? Have you ever wondered? Well, if you've lived enough, you've probably been in a company that's had a bad company culture. I have. And when you're in a bad company culture, nothing else matters. It is poison. Nobody wants to be there. The good people end up leaving. Nobody's motivated. And the company is fighting itself. That's the anti of what you want to be successful. So great company culture is everything. So let's talk about how you build a great company culture. And I'm going to go through several points right now. The first is it starts with you. If you don't exemplify what the company culture is every day, every minute, then nobody else is going to. You have to live it. You have to breathe it. That's what's critical. So it all starts with you. Everybody in the company is looking at you. They're observing you. They're seeing what you do. They're seeing what you don't do. So they're following you for their leads. So you have to exhibit the company culture that you want. That's point number one. Point number two, before you hire any one person, you should be thinking about what you want your culture to be. And you know what that culture should be, because I've already told you. It's a commitment culture. So let me talk to you about what a commitment culture is. A commitment culture is essentially this, and you can think about it from your employee's perspective. It means I don't want to ever leave as an employee. If you build your company culture correctly, no one's going to ever want to leave. So what does this entail? Well, it entails several things. Number one, hiring great people. Great people attract other great people. Great people want to work with great people. So it all starts with people. Number two, these people have to fit your company culture. They have to fit what you want. They have to have things in common. It doesn't mean they're clones of each other, but it does mean they have to have similar values. That's very, very important. So that's point number two on the list of things that you need to build a great company culture. Point number three, you've got to give your team exciting work to do. Smart people want to work on interesting things. So that means you have to delegate down in the organization, give people interesting things to work on. Number four, set them free. Let them work on these interesting things. Let them have fun. Delegate, enjoy. Let these people run free. Now, this doesn't mean you let them do whatever they want, but it does mean that you give them enough freedom to do the right things. You're there as a coach. You're there to guide them and help them and keep them on track. You're not there to dictate everything that they do every step of the way. So if you follow these things, you're going to have a culture where nobody wants to leave. Now, there's a final point to this. Compensate your team well. So this means some combination, especially in a startup, of equity and cash. Now, cash is going to be at a premium, especially early on. So that's why you give people more equity, but don't be stingy with your equity. So if you pay people well, put them in the right environment, hire really good people, give them exciting work, nobody ever wants to leave. And now let me add one final point. You want your team to be passionate about what you do. Ideally fanatical, but I'll settle for passionate. And if they're passionate and they have all these other traits, they're going to be committed to the company because you've treated them well. They're going to knock down walls for you. You've been transparent with them. You've done all the right things. That's a great company culture. That's how you win. So let's go to point number three on my list about building your culture. Number three, every person you hire, evaluate versus the company culture that you want to have. Don't hire mercenaries. No matter how smart they are, no matter how brilliant they are, they will disappoint you. and you're going to live to regret it. You don't want to do that. So don't do it. Hire people that fit your culture. Be really disciplined about this. And as more and more people are hiring people in the company, as your managers start hiring people, teach them to be disciplined too, because your culture permeates from the top down and everybody needs to exemplify the culture. So be very disciplined. Don't hire the brilliant jerk. And when you do hire the brilliant jerk, because we all make the mistake, I know I did, get them out of the company quickly. Never do anything to hurt your company culture, because it's really hard to get it back once you do something that's distinctly different than your company culture. Remember, everybody's looking at you for your leads. So if you don't exhibit the traits of your culture at some point in time, and you make that wrong hire, you keep somebody when you know you should let them go, all these types of things come back and bite you. And then you know what people say? You are a fraud as the CEO, and they stop following you. So remember that. That leads directly to point number 5 on my list, the last point. Point number 5. Talk about your company culture all the time with everybody, with your direct reports, with your employees, with everybody you come in contact with regarding the company. Talk about culture. Talk about how important it is. It will resonate and it will pay off for you, because people will follow you if you do the right things regarding your culture. And this means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You, that's right, you, the CEO, have to exhibit the best of your company culture. That's why people stick around, is because they know that you're committed and they can see it. And they'll believe in you. And even with all your flaws, and we all have flaws, God knows I do, and you do too probably, even with all your flaws, people will believe in you and they'll forgive you for your mistakes. So that's it in a nutshell. That's how you get the company culture you want. That's the most important thing to your success. Live it, breathe it, have that commitment culture, and you'll see success too. I'm Brett at brettjfox.com. Have a great day.